As our flag is raised by the Shrine Service ROTC Color Guard, we invite you to stand and join in singing as Michigan's Director of Band, Professor Michael Gates, leads the Michigan Marching Band in our national anthem.
In Illinois, will receive to start the game. Good luck, men.
Let's move it off this stuff. Hey, move it so we'll...
Receive the football and defend the south goal.
Appears to be the other way.
Illinois won the toss, or rather Michigan won the toss and deferred to the second half, so Illinois will receive here in Ann Arbor. Hayden Epstein to kick it off for Michigan. Did not handle kickoff duties for the bulk of last week against Western Michigan, and we're underway. Return out to the 27-yard line for Greg Lewis, the Illinois wide receiver. So the Illini will get their first shot at it. And Kurt Kittner will bring him out. He's won here before, a couple of years ago in the dramatic Illinois comeback that really put this program on its turnaround path. 50% completions, but that has a lot to do with drops and throwaways. He's played better than that. Senior who takes care of the ball. They have a bunch of receivers, and they are good and tall. Start out with 4 receivers and 1 back. And Kittner shoots it out to the fullback, Carey Davis. Knocked down by Jeremy LeSueur at the 33. That's a pickup of 6. Let's check out those backs and receivers. Davis, the fullback, good pass catcher. Antonio Harris will join Rocky Harvey, sharing the tailback spot. Brian Hodges, the tight end. Brandon Lloyd, a couple of 100-yard games already this season. And Walter Young, the wide receivers. We'll see 7 different receivers for Illinois here this afternoon. On 2nd and 5, second throw for Kittner. Knocked down. He was trying to get it again to Davis, but Shante Orr brought the heat and knocked it down at the same time.
A big key to the game today. Can the Wolverines get pressure on Kurt Kittner? You look at the last 2 games, last 2 seasons, the Wolverines have not been very successful. Only 2 sacks over the course of those 2 games.
A run for it on 3rd down, and Davis is stopped by Charles Drake. A yard shy of the 1st down. Punting situation for Illinois. Steve Fitz is the punter, senior. Up the middle, Marquise Walker almost got a piece of it. Nearly blocked. Julius Curry will let it go. And the drive will start at the Michigan 22. Fitz lucky to get that one away.
Maurice Walker comes free right up the middle. Remember, he blocked a punt in Seattle a couple weeks back, and it looked like he had a great shot to block that punt. I think he just fanned on it. Right up the middle. And if Marquise extends out just a bit more on that, that's a special teams disaster for Illinois.
And watch Fitz. He thinks it's blocked. He turns around behind him. The punter thought that Walker got a piece of it. He did not. Wolverines 1st down. Nearly a missed handoff from Navarre to B.J. Askew. It will be the junior running back. Chris Perry will not play today for the Wolverines after a knee injury last week.
And you look at Marquise Walker and how much he's featured in this Michigan offense. Of course, stepping into the shoes of David Terrell, but a lot of people forget about his special teams prowess. He's already blocked 3 punts in his career here at Michigan and nearly out of 4.
Those of you interested in the Big Ten, Michigan State just had Northwestern score against them. It's 24-20 Wildcats. Navarre's throw for Walker is high. Marquise looking for a flag against Eugene Wilson, but it's not coming.
Well, Walker might have a point here. He just needs a better ball from Navarre, and that contact definitely comes with the ball in the air.
In the pros, it's 5 yards. In college, it's when the ball is in the air, and then, as you can see from how quick the ball came by, it was while in flight. So 1 run, 1 pass, 3rd and 8 Wolverines. Navarre, lock it on Walker, who's covered, and Navarre will go down. Won't be a sack because he technically gains a yard or 2. But Derek Strong, sophomore from Chicago, made the play.
Yeah, big story for Illinois this year, of course. Mike Cassidy comes over from Oklahoma State, defensive coordinator, and he installs an attacking style defense. Illinois likes to put 8, sometimes 9 men up near the line of scrimmage. They want to force pressure in the pocket and also stop the running game cold.
41-yard kick by Hayden Epstein. Very returnable, but a very good tackle made by Marcus Curry. On the punt return by Eugene Wilson. So Illinois will take over in good field position after the 40-yard kick.
Illinois likes to put 2 punt return men back in their set. Christian Morton, Eugene Wilson. And Michigan with a fine special teams play, getting down and covering that punt.
Both teams 3 and out on the opening possession. Kittner hands to Rocky Harvey. Shante Orr made the play on top with Eric Brackens, the senior linebacker, grabbing him by the feet. Couple of yards.
We visited with Ron Turner, head coach for Illinois, and of course he handles the offense for the Fighting Illini. And he said the key to this ball game, even though Kittner's the featured passer and all the talented skill athletes on the outside, he said the key to this ball game is getting a running game going. We need to take pressure off Kurt Kittner, let him do some things out of play action passing.
2nd and 8, and here is a play pass for the senior Kittner. Big ball for Dwayne Smith, incomplete. Cato June, the safety, would not let anybody past him. That's his job, and he did it.
That's absolutely right. When you're playing center field at safety, you make sure that that wide receiver does not have better depth. And Kittner maybe should have held on to that ball and looked down to a 2nd or 3rd choice. You don't want to let too many deep balls go when you got a safety playing that deep.
Meantime, that Michigan State Northwestern game, Michigan State has just taken back the ensuing kickoff for a touchdown, and they have retaken the lead on Northwestern. What a game in Evanston. Meantime, it's 3rd and 8 here, and Kittner's pass is caught by Brandon Lloyd, but he's stopped shy of the first down by Jeremy LeSueur, the cornerback from Mississippi. Michigan State's had a punt return and a kickoff return on back-to-back snaps for a touchdown to take the lead again.
Michigan a year ago, defense was a problem. A lot of injuries, but a lot of young kids got a chance to play. And this year, bigger talent level, a lot of great depth, and guys like Jeremy LeSueur are now featured performers on that defense. Nice play in the open field on the tackle.
Steve Fitz almost had the first one blocked, but Michigan's in a punt safe. Won't see a block here. Curry will let it go through the end zone and a touchback. 3 possessions, 3 3-and-outs. 48 yards on the punt. That was not returned. That Michigan State kickoff return after the Northwestern touchdown. I think it was Herb Haygood who had the touchdown for Michigan State, and he was never touched.
Amazing turn of events late in that football game. 2 special team touchdowns at punt, kick return for Michigan State. A great drive engineered by Zach Kustok to momentarily take the lead for Northwestern, and that one isn't over yet.
Here it is, first down, and Askew tried to run it to the left side and was denied by Brett Cotter, the defensive tackle from Harrisburg, PA.
Well, taking a look at this front four for Illinois, they've been a big story this year. Just as Michigan had trouble a year ago, giving up a lot of points, especially in the Big Ten Conference, Illinois had the same troubles, but they have shored things up and very tough against the run in their 3 games.
Navarre to the air, to the ground on 2nd and 13. He is sacked by Brandon Moore. Derek Strong, I should say. The sophomore who was in there last time. It's his 3rd sack of the year.
And John Navarre at quarterback, taking over for Drew Henson. A lot of people thought Drew Henson might be back, and of course he jumped for a $17 million contract with the Yankees back in the spring. And Navarre needs to get a little bit better in the pocket, sensing when defenders come free and moving and resetting.
Here it is, 3rd and 18, and they'll run Askew. It's to the 25. That's 5 shy of the first down. Chased down by Terrell Washington.
Well, Illinois likes to go with 8 defenders up near the line of scrimmage. They want to take away the run game, and Michigan is Michigan. They're still going to try to run even when they're outnumbered.
Hayden Epstein's punt. Eugene Wilson made the first man miss, trying to pick up some blockers. Well covered as he's brought down at the 39-yard line. Eric Bracken's part of the special teams coverage unit. In Evanston, Michigan State had its 2nd consecutive extra point blocked. This one was from a lot longer because of a unsportsmanlike conduct. So it's 26-24 in that game with just seconds remaining.
They could put together a special teams highlight reel just off the 4th quarter alone.
Also in the conference today, Purdue beat Minnesota in overtime at the Metrodome. And and Ohio State won at Indiana. Iowa beat Penn State. Kittner's throw is complete to Greg Lewis.
Yeah, big time arm for Kurt Kittner. When we talked with Ron Turner yesterday, asked about his arm strength, he said he's got as strong an arm as any quarterback I've worked with. And Coach Turner has worked with quite a few good quarterbacks over the years, both in the college ranks and the pros. And Kittner on that out route put a little extra zip on it to the outside.
There is Ron. A run for Davis. A yard or so. Shante Orr has been very active here in the early going.
And with all the talk about the last two contests between these two teams, all the points that have been scored, this is a very different Michigan defense, Mike. And they go 10, 11 deep up front in the front four, rotating players in and out. Probably the best group of linebackers in the Big Ten Conference.
Third and 3, needing to get to the 48. That pass is incomplete. Another punt. So another one for Steve Fitz. This is third punt. We've yet to see a first down. The return for Curry. Julius made 2 men miss. He's a very good special teams performer. Aaron Moorhead, along with Dwayne Smith down there. Smith ended up making the tackle on special teams. That punt was 42 yards. Meantime, in Evanston, Northwestern just completed a long pass. Somehow, a receiver got behind the safeties. Northwestern is down at the Michigan State 33. A field goal wins it. Let's watch the headgear here. Knocking heads with Muhammad Abdullah was Julius Curry. Wolverines drive start from their own 23. And here's the first down pass. Askew dropped it. He's caught 8 this year. Couldn't hang on to that one with Joe Beavis there on coverage.
When you're outnumbering blockers defensively, it puts the onus on a quarterback. And John Navarre, in many ways, is going to have to be the hero for Michigan today. He's going to have to use the passing game to loosen up this Illinois defensive front. And not a very good job of Askew securing that ball to the outside.
Struggle offensively for both teams. No first downs yet. Navarre goes down for the second time. Pressure from right up the gut. Jeff Ruffin comes up with his 3rd sack of the season. 2 sacks of Navarre in 8 snaps.
Well, Illinois, facing all the passing teams that they do in the Big Ten, they rotate 10 defenders along that front 4. They like to keep the pass rushers fresh, and Jeff Ruffin is having himself a great early season for the Illini. Last week got to Dave Ragone in the backfield against Louisville, big sack in that game, and he's back to work today.
Needing to get to the 34. It's 3rd and 18 for the Wolverines. Walker in motion. The blitz comes. They try to cool him down with a screen, but the receiver never got out there.
Yeah, Brandon Moore, the big defensive tackle, held up Askew inside. And as a running back on screen plays, you've got to pick your way through the traffic and free yourself. You watch at the bottom of the screen, Askew gets pulled up, and Navarre just has to get rid of that ball quick.
Epstein kicking away. This is best kick thus far. Christian Morton, 2-yard radius was violated by Marcus Curry, and a flag is down. Can't be within 2 yards, and Curry was. Meantime, at Northwestern, their 50-yard field goal for the win is good. So Northwestern has defeated Michigan State. I believe there were 4 scores in the last 2 minutes of that game. That's as incredible a finish as you'll see.
That is flat out wild.
Violation of the 2-yard radius. Kick, 5-yard penalty, spot foul, first down.
So we have had here 6 possessions and 6 3-and-outs. Best field position of the game is for the Illini from its own 45. Harry Davis, the move man, pump and go. Open is Walter Young to the 8-yard line. We welcome you live to the Big House in Ann Arbor with David Norrie, Mike Tirico. I don't know if we can match the wild finish that you just saw in the Big Ten, but Illinois and Michigan, two of the best teams in the league, are battling. We are scoreless, 6 possessions, 6 3-and-outs, and just a second ago, Kurt Kittner, the senior quarterback, on the pump fake to Walter Young. The 47-yard completion has brought Illinois down inside the Michigan 10. This is 2nd and goal. And Kittner to the air. Incomplete for Brandon Lloyd. It will bring up 3rd down. The only other thing that you missed, other than the 3-and-outs, Marquise Walker almost blocked a punt for Michigan, and there's been pressure on John Navarre, the Wolverine quarterback.
And Kittner trying to hit a fade ball to the outside to Lloyd. LeSueur on the coverage, and not the best ball from Kittner there. You want to lead Lloyd to the corner of the end zone. Underthrew that ball a little bit. Nice coverage by LeSueur out in the flat.
3rd and goal for the undefeated Illini. Kittner sends 5 to the pattern, but lost the ball. And does come up with it. But it will be a field goal attempt for Illinois, and those have been shaky over the last few weeks.
Now, big number 99, Jake Freisinger, the defensive tackle, thought he had a shot at a fumble recovery here. And Kittner trying to go in between the legs of his big offensive lineman. Exchange problem between quarterback and center. Kittner lucky to get that one back.
26-yard field goal attempt for Peter Christophilakis from straight on. There was a kicking battle between Christophilakis and J.J. Tubbs all week, which continued into pregame today. Christophilakis kicked better in pregame warmups, got the shot. His field goal's good. Illinois 3, Michigan nothing. Backpedaling will take a knee. Michigan drive start from their own 20 for the 3rd time in 4 tries. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you this Saturday by Original Coors. Nothing beats an original. Olive Garden, when you're here, your family. And Jeep Liberty, the next great Jeep idea. Jeep, there's only one. Some of the beautiful sights on campus here in Ann Arbor. You cannot find a better place or a better day for college football. It's sunny and in the 60s. This Big Ten opener for both teams. BJ Askew carries left side, gets it out to the 23-yard line. You will not see Chris Perry today. The sophomore injured his knee in the win over Western Michigan last week and is sitting it out. So more pressure on John Navarre. Good completion percentage thus far, David.
Yeah, but in this ball game, not very good numbers. 0 for 3, 2 sacks, and Illinois is putting up a stone wall. They're playing a lot of defenders up near the line of scrimmage. They're taking away the run, and Navarre has to hit some balls if they're going to loosen up this Illini defense.
Needs to get some time to do it also. See what I mean? As the 3rd time John Navarre has been sacked, Brandon Moore got through there. He's from Gary, Indiana, and that's his 2nd sack of the season. Derek Strong and Jeff Ruffin have sacks already.
Now, Brandon Moore is probably the best defensive lineman along this Illinois defensive front, and they're getting great pressure early on in this football game. They're not even needing much work from the linebackers. That front 4 is getting penetration on every snap, and Michigan's doing their part in play calling. They're calling pass plays on obvious run downs.
This offensive line lost 4 to the NFL. They're being heated up here. Incomplete. The freshman Braylon Edwards was on the run. Nobody looked back. The fans are upset. 4 3-and-outs. But folks, Michigan's given up 4 sacks in the first 3 games. They've given up 3 sacks in the first 12 snaps today.
Braylon Edwards, young true freshman, up the seam, and he didn't even look back for the football. Navarre getting so much pressure, he's having to throw that ball out quick.
Hayden Epstein's 4th punt. He did not punt last week. Adam Finley did. They heated him up that time, but got rid of it. On the move is Christian Morton. Reverses his field. He's a terrific runner, but nowhere to go. Flags are down as well. And so is the sophomore from St. Louis. It was a 36-yard punt, well covered. Clayton Dubik made the tackle on special teams for the reserve tight ends.
Illinois is going to get hit with a blocking infraction, and Kirk Kittner is going to start with a little bit less attractive field position on this drive.
James Lapatina of the Big Ten, our official this afternoon.
Legal block in the back on the receivers. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Illinois will take over from its own 34 after this timeout. 3-0 Illini in the Big House.
It's college.
His passes thus far this season, but David, that's somewhat misleading.
It is misleading. If you look back over the course of the first 3 games, he's had a number of throwaways, and that's senior experience. When he gets rid of the ball, saves his team for the next down, and also he's had a number of drops. He's normally up close to 60% perennially. 4-year starter here at Illinois.
Out of the eye on play action. He sends all 5 in the pattern. He's looking long again. Dwayne Smith, incomplete. Jump ball situation. Julius Curry went up there to go after it. Charles Drake almost caught it on the deflection.
Taking a look from the end zone, Julius Curry almost misjudges this ball. He's a safety straight down the middle. Dwayne Smith, deep threat for Illinois, caught a couple big balls last week against Louisville. And Curry almost didn't get a piece of that football. One thing is that you can't do as a safety is let the ball get back over your head.
Harvey inside, and the senior doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. Michigan defense being asked to answer the challenge. Remember, they forced Illinois 3 and out 3 times in a row to start the game. Eric Brackens and company.
You look at Kittner's numbers over the last 2 games, and most importantly, 2 years ago, he came into the Big House and he came away with a win. Last year, had a 10-point lead at home against Michigan. Wolverines prevailed in that, but Kittner, the only visiting conference quarterback to come up with a win in the last 16 home conference games for Michigan. That says a lot.
This is 3rd and 10. Kittner escapes, but not for long. Chased down by Dan Rumashik. Technically gained a couple of yards, so it will not be a sack, but the same effect for Michigan.
Yeah, the Michigan defensive coaches watch the film. They'll consider this as good as a sack. Kittner's got a great feel for leaving the pocket. He can hurt you some with his feet. But Lloyd Carr, the head coach for Michigan, said, you can't believe how much better we are in our front 7 this year.
Julius Curry, punt return. Well covered. He'll go down at the 30. Joe Beavis, linebacker who plays a lot for the Illini, made the tackle. 3:15 left, opening quarter. The natives are restless here in Ann Arbor. They'd like to see a first down in the first quarter.
Back in Times Square Stadium, time for the Coors Light update. Kansas State against Oklahoma. What a game. Al Roberson, 57 yards to Ricky Lloyd on the money. They also go for the 2-point conversion, get it, and trail now by just a field goal and ready to get the ball back. We'll keep you up to date, Mike.
All right, John, we'll keep an eye on that. What an opener to our doubleheader here this afternoon. If you're just tuning in, Northwestern beat Michigan State. 4 scores in the last couple of minutes. This is a pass. Gonzalez, the backup quarterback, return from Walker. And here goes Gonzalez down the field with a blocker. Out of bounds at the 21. Michigan dips into the bag of tricks. 53 yards later, first down, Wolverines.
They slipped Gonzalez into the lineup, and this is a lateral. You have to have Marquise Walker back behind Gonzalez. It's successfully executed, and then the throw back to Gonzalez. You know, Mike, I was visiting with Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator for Michigan, just before the game today, and he said you might see some unusual things, and putting Gonzalez in early is definitely unusual.
DJ Askew tries the left side, and he's pushed back by a yard. Well, Jermaine Gonzalez, the redshirt freshman quarterback from Pontiac, Michigan, was over with the basketball team the end of last season, and Lloyd Carr told us this kid has really dedicated himself to football. I'm very impressed with him, and you see some of his athletic ability here.
Well, he isn't the classic Michigan drop-back passer. He's more of an on-the-run passer and athlete, and that's a great play call. And they caught Illinois' defense sleeping on that one. Slipped him into the lineup, and first big play of the game for Michigan.
Little bunch formation down here. Oh, look at the pass of Walter Cross to Walker. Touchdown, Michigan! So fans of the Maize and Blue, next time you complain about the play calling, remember those two in the same drive. Hayden Epstein adds the extra point. So let's see, we had a throw back to the quarterback from Marquise Walker, and then the senior running back, Walter Cross, comes in with a half-batch option to the man from Syracuse, Marquise Walker. Touchdown Wolverines, 7-3 Michigan.
Look at me.
And blocked a punt. He almost blocked a punt in the first quarter here. Threw the pass that got them downfield on that drive, and then caught the halfback option from the unheralded, unappreciated senior Walter Cross. Christian Morton awaits the kick. It doesn't matter who's going to catch it, Morton or Greg Lewis. They've got nowhere to go. Touchback, and we take you back to the touchdown.
Yeah, the key on the touchdown, Walter Cross is going to sell run here. And he makes it look like a run. The linebackers for Illinois. And coming down inside, Marquise Walker was selling a block. Coming back towards the line of scrimmage and looking for linebackers. And then he just slipped into the end zone. Great play action by Michigan, and nice catch by Walker in the end zone.
Antonio Harris is now the tailback for Illinois. Hey, we've got a bag of tricks too. We can open it up. But Brandon Lloyd is taken down by Victor Hobson. Hobson, who is an important figure in this Wolverine defense this afternoon. The junior from New Jersey made a nice play.
Jim Herman is a defensive coordinator for Michigan, and he said that Victor Hobson would be a focal point in this game because of the pass-run mix that Illinois throws at you on offense and their ability to play action pass. It really puts a bind on that strong side linebacker, and if anybody can play outside linebacker in the Big Ten with talent, it's Victor Hobson.
Kittner to the air, pressure on, but got it out. To his fullback. And Carey Davis pushed out at the 23-yard line. Jeremy LeSueur off the corner to make the play.
Really the key to this football game for Illinois offensively is getting a ground game going. And Kurt Kittner needs time. He's had time the last 2 years. In fact, he's only been sacked twice in total in those 2 games. But in this football game, Ron Turner wants to make sure that he gets a run game going, loosen things up, and then counterpunch with the play-action pass game.
Needing to get to the 30 for a first down. Will throw for it, and protection is nice. Receiver breaks wide open. Brandon Lloyd taken out of bounds at the 35-yard line. Mark it off with 42 yards.
Now, Illinois did a great job here. They lined Lloyd up inside. Outside receiver gets knocked off track, but Lloyd up the sideline, gets lost in coverage, and Howard gets picked off by his own man. Illinois so creative in their pass game, their route structure. and Lloyd just sneaks up the sideline, lined up in the slot, and another great ball from Kittner.
One back, Kittner will throw. Pumps it, then throws underneath to Antonio Harris, who got right around Larry Foote. He's pinballed around, but after he picked up a first down across the 25. Dan Rumashek eventually made the play. The center, Luke Butkus, nephew of Dick Butkus, down there leading the charge on that little dump down pass.
Well, Mike, Kurt Kittner is really a high-profile quarterback at the college level right now and has the talent to go in the first round. And there's no quarterback in the country that makes better use of the arm fake, the pump fake, to set up defenders in the secondary than Kurt Kittner.
Seen that already on a couple of big completions. Antonio Harris works the left side. Nice cutback by Harris to the 9. First and goal. Final seconds, opening quarter in Ann Arbor. After three and outs for each team, Illinois got on the board with a field goal drive. Michigan used razzle-dazzle, a throwback to the quarterback, and then a halfback option pass just 2 snaps later for its touchdown. Illinois is now moving in the red zone. First and goal, Antonio Harris takes it down to the 7, and that should end the first quarter. A quarter dominated statistically by Illinois. The Fighting Illini 142 yards, and Michigan just 69 yards. Yet Michigan leads after one, but Illinois is threatening. They'll have second and goal from the 7 when we come back with the second quarter. Wolverines 7, Fighting Illini 3. An ABC Sports presentation of college football. We'll return after this message and a word from your ABC station.
You know.
At the home of Tommy Amaker's basketball Wolverines right next door, Chrysler Arena. We're inside Michigan Stadium, start of the second quarter. 7-3 Michigan, but Illinois in the red zone. Second and goal. They'll run Antonio Harris right side to the 4-yard line. Third down coming up. Well, the first quarter, the Illinois field goal was answered by Michigan as they put the backup quarterback, Jermaine Gonzalez, there. Marquise Walker, the throwback to him, 51 yards down the field for the redshirt freshman. And then 2 snaps later, Walter Cross, the senior, halfback option, and the catch by Walker for the touchdown to put Michigan on top. 4 receivers, a bunch to the top of the screen, the left side. Now Illinois breaks at that, so they go 2 receivers each side. Kittner takes off with it and scores. Touchdown, Illinois. Julius Curry hit him at the goal line, but that designed quarterback run for 6 puts Illinois on top.
Well, that was not only a great run by Kittner, but he certainly took on Curry. And Curry's one of the bigger hitting safeties you'll find in the Big Ten Conference. Kittner lowered the boom on him.
Peter Christophilakis for the extra point. He's looked pretty good on his 2 kicks thus far after a very sluggish start. The offenses have shown up. 10-7 Illinois.
Now looking back to the touchdown, number 17, this is Larry Foote. He's all Big Ten. And Julius Curry, a safety, he's all Big Ten potential as well. Foote comes on a stunt to the outside. Kittner, a nice job to sidestep him. And look at Kittner, he just lowers the helmet on him and takes him into the end zone. Great play by Kittner.
Strong leg from the punter, Steve Fitz. Takes it back for a touchback. Michigan will start its drive from the 20. What did Kurt Kittner talk about with us last night, and Ron Turner as well? He's got to be careful that he doesn't run too much because every time he slides, he gets hurt. You did a game last year where he slid, against Ohio State, right?
Yeah, in November he took on the strong safety for Ohio State, Mike Doss, and that's one guy you don't want to take on. In fact, he was trying to get down, just didn't get down quite quick enough.
Got a concussion there, got dinged trying to slide again earlier this season as Askew can't get back to the line of scrimmage. So Kurt Kittner said, that's it. I won't run too often, but when I do, I'm going full bore. I'm not sliding, I get hurt. Speaking of Kurt Kittner, he has a chance to win here at Michigan twice in his Big Ten career. Very rare. For our Aflac trivia question, we ask you, who was the last visiting Big Ten quarterback to win 2 games here at Michigan Stadium? Answer coming up in a little bit. It's a good question. It was well researched too, I might point out. Won't tell you who researched it.
You were doubling up on us, Mike.
This is 2nd and 11. Navarre stepped up. Marquise Walker across the 30 to the 35. Muhammad Abdullah pulled him down, but 16 yards after a Wolverine first down.
And that's what you need from John Navarre. That's what the offensive coaches for Michigan are looking for, is some movement in the pocket. Isolation on Walker. He's going to pick his way across on a drag route. But a nice job of Navarre feeling the pressure on the blitz. A secondary blitz. He steps up, little movement in the pocket, and then he feeds the ball outside to Marquise Walker.
Navarre's first completion. The run is doing nothing for Michigan right now. Jeff Ruffin, the first one in there on the hit.
And it's tough to come up with something on the ground when you have too many defenders for your number of blockers. And that's why John Navarre is going to have to make plays in the passing game. And he'll get some help from Lloyd Carr's offensive coordinator, Stan Parrish. Stan Parrish knows that to take some pressure off John Navarre, he's going to have to throw in some obvious run situations, and he's going to have to utilize play action.
Last week, the first down mix was 23 runs, 7 passes in the win over Western Michigan. 2nd and 11. They rush only 4. Navarre had time, but Walker was covered well by Abdullah. The Wolverines next Saturday will take on Penn State. Knocked off again today, the Nittany Lions were, by Iowa, 24-18. You'll see that on ABC Sports next Saturday. Most of you will. The rest will see Oklahoma play Texas. What a finish that was in Norman, Oklahoma beating Kansas State by 1.
On paper, coming into the 2001 season, that Oklahoma-Texas game looked like the featured game of the year in the regular season. That should be a great one.
3rd and 11. Walker, downfield block was great from Braylon Edwards, the freshman. Marquise Walker still going to the 32-yard line. 33 yards. Derek Strong comes back to make the play, but first down, Michigan.
Well, that was a great pickup, Mike. Braylon Edwards is going to come inside, and he's got to be careful. If he's blocking before that catch, that's a penalty. This was not a screen pass. That ball was not completed behind the line of scrimmage. Navarre led him across the line of scrimmage, so you cannot have another wide receiver blocking downfield. Braylon Edwards waited just long enough to throw that block and spring Walker to the outside.
Empty backfield now as Askew lined up in the slot. Navarre going for the tight end, incomplete. Just thinking about Benny Jopru down the hash. Jopru, the junior from Minnesota, who has 4 catches, including a touchdown.
Well, this is John Navarre's 8th start, and he's had a couple big games on the road, losses at UCLA, a loss earlier this year at Michigan, and this is a home game, and this is really a game where Navarre should start to step out of his shell a little bit. On that last ball, he had a tight end open down the field, did not put touch on it. He's got to get better on the throws where he's not putting 100% velocity on the ball.
2nd and 10 out of the gun. They fake the run to the other tight end, Sean Thompson. The senior gains about 6 yards. 3rd and 4 coming up. Christian Morton spilled Thompson, who was injured against Miami of Ohio last year, set out all season.
Yeah, a lot of talk last year about what went wrong with Michigan, and a lot of people talking national title, and Sean Thompson, the big tight end, was lost for the entire season. Along with some defensive injuries, really hurt Michigan. So much talk about the talent they had on offense a year ago, but they really missed Thompson at that tight end position.
3rd and 5, Walker again in motion out of the backfield. Navarre finds him on the run. so good at making the first guy miss, and he almost snuck free from Eugene Wilson that time. That's another first down for the man who has completely emerged out of David Terrell's shadow in the first month of this season.
Well, he comes into the year with 111 career catches, and people talk about Marquise Walker playing in David Terrell's shadow. It's time for Walker to emerge. And how about the game he had up at Seattle a couple weeks back? 15 catches. That was an all-time record, single-game record for Michigan, 2 touchdowns, and he might be the premier receiver in the Big Ten Conference.
From the 14, looking Walker's way, but it was overthrown. Calvin Bell and Walker were on the near side. Brandon Moore's pressure may have forced that one out early.
Yeah, Illinois is doing a good job up front, and they're moving. They're moving some before the snap. They're also coming on some stunts. Brandon Moore, Derek Strong. That's what you try to do to a young quarterback, is get up in his face, take him out of his rhythm, get him shaking.
Here is Askew up the middle. Touchdown, Michigan. B.J. Askew's 4th touchdown of the season. Hayden Epstein's 12th extra point of the season. Michigan 14, Illinois 10 in the Big House. But with the injury to Chris Perry, who's not playing because of a knee injury, he may be back, if not next week, then certainly right after that. B.J. Askew being asked to carry the load. He was banged up after that Miami of Ohio game. Played very little in Seattle, the loss in Washington, but has come back here, a 14-yard touchdown run after a 3-touchdown performance against Western Michigan last week. Hayden Epstein looked very good on his kickoffs this far. This one into the wind is shorter, and a Greg Lewis return from the 10. Take it out to the 24-yard line. On this Saturday, our ABC Sports presentation of college football is brought to you by Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete. Circuit City, we know how you feel. That's why we're here. Circuit City, we're with you. And Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, long-lasting trucks on the road. The Law Quad on the Michigan campus. Another one of the famous landmarks here in Ann Arbor. Hittner's looking down the middle for Brandon Lloyd. Incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up. That drive by Michigan was a lot of Marquise Walker, but it was Michigan football to score. Little pass look, and then Askew moving on the inside. A nice cutback run by BJ. Very familiar with finding the end zone last week. Not much room with Victor Hobson waiting for Rocky Harvey. So after a feeling out process, David, where both teams went 3 and out their first 3 possessions, so the offense is kind of establishing a little bit of a toehold of their personality here in the game.
Well, it's not unlike the game a year ago. If you look back to last year's game, Michigan led 7-zip after 1 quarter, and then the fireworks started to begin. And I think that's what happens, especially with this Illinois offense. They like to feel you out and then go at your weaknesses.
3rd and 9, pressure from up the middle, gets it complete to Walter Young, who eluded the tackle, crawled forward, and the spot is very close to a first down.
I think he's going to be a little bit short. But what an effort to try to pick up the first down after the catch. talked about Michigan this year. Looks like Shante Orr getting held a little bit at the top of the screen there.
David Deal had him by the shoulder pads, and Jake Freisinger from Grosse-Ile, Michigan, came right up the middle.
Now, this is a new look defense for Michigan, and not only do they have great talent throughout their front seven, they've got some very seasoned veterans in the defensive backfield, and they got great depth. The ability to rotate the pass rushers is making a difference today against Kittner in the pocket. Look at the fourth down conversion rate, pretty stellar so far this year.
How in the world did you see that he was just short with those 40 Michigan players blocking out the ball?
Yeah, you can't go for it. You can't. That's just one of my special gifts.
Is that what it is?
The crowd, small crowd on the road here from Illinois. There's no way you can go for it on 4th and inches inside your own 40. 14-10 game. Punt this one away every time.
You think Kittner might just stay out there and try to draw him off? You're surprised, aren't
I
you?
would be very surprised if they snap the football here. They may try to draw Michigan offsides, but if they do try it, Kurt Kittner's pretty big quarterback, 6'3", 212. I go with the quarterback sneak here.
Well, 110,000 people will give you a better idea of what happens on this play than we will.
I doubt
4th and inches.
This is really tough. Inside your own 35-yard line this early in the game. I don't agree with it if they snap the football here.
Whoa! They did snap it, and I don't know. There was a surge of maize and blue across the line.
Well, Kittner took a step back, and that's pretty dangerous right there. They allowed some penetration from the Michigan defensive line, but Kittner was second effort, tried to pick it up. It's all in the spot.
Yeah, that's... Sean Lazarus made the surge there, and he made contact, as you talked about, when Kittner takes that step back. Touch 97 in there.
Yeah, and Kittner, he didn't really take a step back, but it took a while for him to gather himself. And as a quarterback, especially in a big play like that, you've got to get some forward surge immediately. Lazarus, a great job of getting the penetration.
That's it. He just made a great instinctive play as the ball moved. He got there. Golden opportunity for Michigan. Navarre looking to make it pay off. Touchdown! Ronald Bellamy, great catch! Hayden Epstein on for the extra point. And you think that decision will be discussed in Champaign? 21-10, Michigan. A quarterback, I know you like what John Navarre did in the pocket on that play.
Well, he did show a nice feel in the pocket, Mike, and he threw a great ball down the field. Bellamy's going to be working against a very talented cornerback in Christian Morton, and a guy that can get up in the air. I mean, this defensive back has the ability to leap and make plays, and that ball is thrown in the perfect spot. And look at the move, the reset in the pocket by Navarre. He's starting to show some more seasoning, and that's a flat-out great catch by Bellamy to go high.
And John Navarre, who's looking to get his first Big Ten win, but you can take out the 10. He's looking for his first big win, too. Remember, he was the starter when Drew Henson got hurt, but in the Illinois game last year, they lost at UCLA. In the game against the Illini, Henson came in and never gave the position back up.
Now, this is his first big game at home. You know, he's been on the road against UCLA, Washington, Illinois, and it's always better if you're a young quarterback, you got the fans on your side.
Greg Lewis on the return. Nice kick coverage here by Michigan, stopped at the 15. That's a very interesting time. There is plenty of time in this game. And this Illinois offense is not deterred by an 11-point deficit with another 39 minutes on the clock as Bellamy made his 3rd career touchdown reception.
Mike, and going back to the decision to go for it on 4th and inches, I don't think you do that if you're on your side of the 50, let alone inside your own 35. I haven't seen that call in quite some time. You talk about rolling the dice.
From the 16, Kittner. Nice little dump down to Rocky Harvey, who is stuck by Marlon Jackson, outstanding looking freshman. We told you Kittner is trying to become a Big Ten visiting quarterback to win at Michigan Stadium twice. Who was the last to do it? Art Schleister, when Ohio State came down from Columbus and won in 79 and 81.
I'll tell you, Mike, he's had some problems since he graduated and played in the NFL, but he was really the quarterback that got passing offense started in the Big Ten. A lot of people give him credit for that.
That's a good point. The receiver is the fullback Davis. The linebacker is Larry Foote out of Pershing High School in Detroit.
I love the way that Larry Foote plays football. The way he runs, and he's a great tackler. Really a highlight reel film game in that big contest up in Seattle against the University of Washington earlier this year. And he made the comment, Mike, that he's getting such better play up front that it's been easy for the linebackers to pick their way through and make tackles.
Energized defense, especially on 3rd down. Looks like they're going to bring some. Zone blitz, they drop a lineman. Kittner with some time. On the move, it's caught and dropped by Walter Young. Incomplete pass. 4th down.
Well, Kittner definitely got the protection, and he had Young wide open, and that is not like Kurt Kittner to miss a wide open receiver, especially in a big 3rd down situation.
Punt by Steve Fitz is gorgeous. Wow, what a kick. Julius Currier picks it up at the 15 and returns it out to the 27-yard line. Whew. Good time to get a 69-yard punt. Pinning Michigan back. Great slate of college football action this week. On Monday night here on ABC, you'll see the San Francisco 49ers and Steve Mariucci come east to take on the Jets. For both the Jets and Giants, their first home games since the tragedy in New York. It'll be emotional at 9 Eastern on Monday night. Over on ESPN on Sunday Night Football, you'll see Emmitt Smith and the Cowboys take on Donovan McNabb and the Eagles. Sunday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. Donovan McNabb was the last quarterback to win in here after Kurt Kittner, when Syracuse came in a few years ago and beat Michigan. Oh, Navarre's back to the air again. Walker is double covered. And it's incomplete. Eugene Wilson and Muhammad Abdullah gave Walker nowhere to go.
As a quarterback, you got to pick your spots where you're going down the field with the football, and pretty obvious. Navarre's got to pick this up from the pocket. Pretty nice play by Walker to just bat the ball away and avoid the interception, but as a quarterback from the pocket, you got to pick the defenders up downfield, and if you don't have a deep ball, save it, come down underneath.
After going 3 and out on the first 4 possessions, Michigan has found the sink on offense. Bellamy, touchdown catcher earlier to the 34-yard line. It's going to be a couple of yards shy of the first down. Those of you just joining us, our Pacific Life game summary after a sluggish offensive start. Kicked it into high gear. The last 2 Michigan touchdowns. B.J. Askew had the run from 14 yards, but Marquise Walker had 3 catches for 63 yards in that drive. And then after the 4th and inches where they were stopped, Michigan to the air, Navarre to Bellamy, 33 yards for the score. Wolverines take the first timeout of this half. We mentioned Illinois is undefeated at 3-0. Michigan has a loss to Washington, 23-18 in Seattle, 2nd week of the season. The road team has won the last 2 games in this series, controversial fashion last year in Champaign. Starting with this play, Rocky Harvey, the official said this was a fumble. It was incorrectly called. Michigan got the ball, and on the ensuing drive, A-Train, Anthony Thomas, was on his way, but clearly lost the ball on the way out. Michigan scored a snap later, went on to win 35-31. The Big Ten said that the calls were incorrect and sent that always exciting apology to Ron Turner. I don't know if Ron has framed that, put it up in his office.
An apology doesn't mean much, does it?
Well, and we asked Ron yesterday if it's been motivation for his team this week, and he said his coaches, they didn't bring it up because you can't live in the past. But it's one of those, don't you think, as a player, you don't need to bring it up.
That's tough. I mean, you know definitely it's in the back of the minds of the Illinois players. And Ron Turner was trying to stay focused on this year's game.
3rd and a couple, passes deflected and incomplete. Derek Strong. Looked like a volleyball spike. Where's Karch Karai when you needed him? He threw that back.
Getting some of the UCLA kids involved there, Mike.
Well, after you go Karch Karai and St. John Smith, my volleyball roster,
it ends there.
Very limited. Hayden Epstein, busy early, on to punt. Broke his pinky finger. Thus did not punt or kick off last week. They were worried about him catching the ball. He's been just fine in practice this week. It's a violation of the halo by Brandon Williams. And Eugene Wilson's catch will have 5 yards added to. For the safety of the punt returner, can't be within 2 yards in a circle when he catches. This was no doubt about it.
Brandon Williams is an experienced cornerback, played a lot of special teams for Michigan, and that's just a mental error. Well, granted, you only give up 5 yards, but he knows better than that. And Lloyd Carr's coaching style, he's going to let him hear it. We'll be right back.
There.
Kurt Kittner got off to the good start. John Navarre was one of his first 6. Kind of picked up the tempo a little bit. Some quick passing by Michigan and better pass protection. Part of the reason the Wolverines lead 21-10. Kittner's back to the air. There's a man breaking open, but just underthrows Brandon Lloyd. And Lloyd got a step on Todd Howard in the Michigan coverage scheme.
Yeah, and again, not a great ball by Kittner, but Lloyd's got to read this ball in the air. Kittner's going to beat the defender with the throw, so Lloyd has to gear down a little bit there. Gear down, help your quarterback out. And granted, it wasn't a great throw.
It was foot in the underneath coverage in the zone, I beg your pardon. And Howard coming back from deep. For Ron Turner, his older brother Norv, now the offensive coordinator at San Diego with the Chargers. They run Rocky Harvey up inside. Usually you see Antonio Harris at 6'1", 222 as the back between the tackles, and Rocky at 5'9", 183, the guy outside. But you got to change it up every once in a while.
And it is a nice change. Both backs combined to go over 1,500 yards a year ago, and if you go back to the '99 game against Michigan, Harvey had a field day, especially in the 4th quarter. 2 touchdowns, 1 receiving, 1 rushing, over 50 yards, and it really decided that game late.
Illinois struggling on 3rd down conversions, and this is 3rd and 6. Michigan rushed just 3. It's a little leak out for Harvey. Lost the ball, but it was recovered by Dwayne Smith at the 44, 1st down. Good job of paying attention by the sophomore receiver.
Yeah, nice play by Moorhead, but you know, it was also a great job picking up the 1st down after the catch. The one thing Harvey didn't do was secure the football, but a nice feel of swinging out on that screen pass and moving it up, keeping the chains moving for Kurt Kittner in this offense.
Check out some other scores, top 25 and otherwise, as Kittner's play pass. It's incomplete. Brian Hodges could feel Todd Howard coming. Howard's Illinois born from Bolingbrook.
That's called leading your tight end into a hard spot. And passing game vernacular.
You ever heard that complaint from a tight end before, old quarterback?
As a quarterback, you've got to help your receiver out and not lead them into defenders, especially a squatting cornerback, and number 3 was waiting there.
Fullback Carey Davis is that motion man. He does that a lot. Foot does a great job of tying up Antonio Harris in the backfield. David mentioned it earlier, the performance by Larry Foote. All the tackles for loss. He leads the conference with 9 already this year.
Yeah, he's a lone returning member of this Michigan defensive unit with first team all Big Ten honors. And you know, it's safe to say that when you're getting the play yard up front from this Michigan front 4, Foote's free to run and make tackles, and he's doing just that.
And with his first half performance here, he now has the all-time Michigan record, tackles for loss. 4 in the pattern as Michigan brought pressure, but still the sack from the safety, Charles Drake. It was a little running back on Charles Drake, the big hitter, and the free safety won.
Michigan bringing the free safety blitz, as you said, Mike, and now Kittner only sacked twice over the course of the last 2 games against Michigan. You get put in a 3rd and 14 situation, obvious passing down against this defense, the newly improved Michigan defense, and it's going to spell trouble.
The Fitz kick, not as long as the last one, returnable for Julius Curry. He takes it out to the 33-yard line. It's Derek Strong, the starting defensive end, on the special teams tackle. What a great day it's been, not just for the Big Ten, but around the country. And we'll get you all caught up with scores and highlights from Times Square Stadium in New York. John Saunders, Terry Bowden will bring you the Valvoline halftime show. Gentlemen will be by from New York in 3:46 of second quarter time. And Navarre gives to Askew, the only Michigan back to carry today. BJ is stopped at the 37-yard line.
And the yards are coming tough for Michigan on the ground. By design, Illinois, Mike Cassidy comes in as a defensive coordinator. The attacking style defense, outnumbering the blockers up front with his defensive players. But again, Michigan is Michigan. And even when you're outnumbered, they'll continue to try to pound away at you. Then they'll take their shots up top.
Looking over the tight end, he's covered, but in the middle, the other one's open. Bill Seymour across midfield into the 43. 2 tight ends on the same side. Benny Jopru and Bill Seymour. They covered one and left Seymour free. A marker's down, back by the quarterback, and it's roughing the passer.
And that means extra yards tacked on. And what a luxury for a young quarterback, John Navarre, and this football team. That definitely came late.
Personal foul.
That was Terrell Washington. Yep. But what a luxury for a young quarterback to have the depth at tight end that this Michigan team has. I mean, he's got 4 bona fide tight ends he can go to. Seymour, Thompson, Benny Jopru, who's done a great job early in the season, even Rosal.
19 on the catch, 15 on the flag, David. So that's a 34-yard pickup, a third of the field. Cross hands to Calvin Bell, and off he goes. Calvin Bell at the 10, he's at the 5. Touchdown, Michigan! That took less than a minute. 66-yard drive. The penalty didn't help. Extra point drive for Hayden Epstein. Michigan has scored 4 touchdowns in the last 14 minutes, 30 seconds, and the Wolverines lead by 18.
Well, offensive coordinator Stan Parrish doing a great job watching this game, watching the over pursuit by the Illinois defenders. And look at the big center, number 71, get downfield. You got to look at him there, Kurt Anderson. He didn't necessarily throw a block, but he holds up the defensive secondary player. Watch 71 leading the way. Doesn't get a piece of Abdullah, but forces Abdullah to check up a little bit there, and that's just enough for Bell to get into the corner of the end zone inside that cone.
And for Calvin Bell, it's another rushing touchdown. I said another. He's the wide receiver on this Michigan roster, but has a rushing touchdown already this season and adds to it there. Well, the momentum was clearly Illinois' at 10-7 after an 8-play, 80-yard drive. But since then, Michigan has scored 3 touchdowns, one on an 80-yard drive, one after the 4th and inches questionable decision to go for it by Turner, and that one a quick strike. 66 yards in less than a minute. Into the wind, these kicks are returnable, and the receiver Lewis is brought down at the 21. Very good kickoff coverage by Michigan here in this second quarter, kicking into the wind. So this Wolverine offense, after 3 and out early and often in the opening quarter, is cruising along right now. This will be an important drive for Kurt Kittner in Illinois.
Yeah, and if there's any sort of silver lining in a 28-10 deficit, you go back to the 99 game here, and this Illinois team trailed 27-7.
Good run for Rocky Harvey, who scored the 2 touchdowns in that comeback. As a matter of fact, the Illinois comeback came in the last 17 and a half minutes of the game. There's about 3 minutes left
in the third quarter.
It was cruise control. It was one of those where you're going to start seeing the second, third string backs come in.
Illinois lined up 28 points in a hurry.
No huddle now with 2.5 to go. Larry Foote, big hit on Young. The ball is incomplete pass. Walter never had possession because of 1-7.
Wow. Huh. Walter Young is not going to appreciate Kittner much on this play. Coming on the crossing route, you got to run your route. I mean, you can't come off route. And Larry Foote absolutely lays the helmet on it. And that was pretty close to a fumble.
Yep. Possession and a couple of feet. Penalty markers down as Illinois' offense is just a little off balance right now. Michigan's defense wanted to get pressure on Kurt Kittner. They've done some of that.
Prior to the snap, dead ball. Ball start, offense. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
Michigan has a sack, but more importantly, they've made Illinois one-dimensional.
Let's take one more look. The crossing route, Young. I didn't quite have that football secured. I don't think he had. I think that Young was checking Foote upfield before he checked security on that football.
I don't blame him.
I don't either.
Now it's 3rd and 6 instead of 3rd and 1. And Kittner's pass is complete to Eric McGoey, sophomore who was good in a 2-minute drill late first half in the win over Louisville in Champaign last week. First down, Illinois.
He also had a heck of a game last year against Michigan. Made some key catches in that 35-31 shootout.
Nothing for the tight ends. We've only caught 3 of 53 completions on the year, so that's not a glaring mistake in Illinois' offensive distribution. Kittner lost it. Got it back. That's a couple of times now they've had exchange problems. Clock continues to run inside of 2 minutes here.
That's pretty unusual. I mean, Luke Butkus, all Big Ten performer at center. Kittner, 4-year starter. Very unusual to have 2 snaps fumbled in the first half of this game.
2nd and 13, covered long. Kittner on the move, threw it away. And he has been very good doing that this year. His completion percentage is just under 50, but Ron Turner went back and watched film this week and said there are a lot of balls that have been dropped on Kittner and a lot that he's thrown away, which is a good thing for a senior QB.
Yeah, but we were also talking to Kittner, and he said, you know, I have not thrown the ball as accurately as I'd like to throw it here. And if you break down the film, Louisville last week, and you look at the Cal film, Kittner would agree with you. This Michigan defense is doing a great job getting pressure without blitzing.
3rd and 13 run that Larry Stevens says, thank you very much. Michigan take a timeout here, stop the clock. Whoa, 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 but that punch, didn't know if you're allowed to do that without a flag. Here comes the timeout at 1:26 before halftime. Michigan 1 timeout left. Well, tomorrow on ABC Sports, we'll keep it in the Midwest, take you down to Indianapolis for the Formula One SAP US Grand Prix. Michael Schumacher and some of the elite recognized athletes around the world, Formula One drivers, bring their multi-million-dollar teams to the U.S. It's tomorrow, 1:30 Eastern on ABC. Schumacher this year is going to make $30 million. Talk about Alex Rodriguez. That's 8 more than A-Rod. So A-Rod's not the highest paid guy in sports. Not that he's complaining, mind you.
Well, they tell me you're not doing too bad either,
right.
Mike.
You know, you said that when you asked for the dinner check to be passed over on the road here. Well, Kurt Kittner has a very good start. Turned around. His team was up 10-7. And forget the scoreboard, just in a field, David, you got the sense that Illinois settled into the game. And boy, Michigan's turned the momentum quickly.
Well, they turned the momentum because they haven't really had to blitz. They've gotten pressure on Kittner in the pocket with just a vanilla standard 4-man front rush, and that's a real tribute to the guys playing down in the trenches for the Wolverines.
7th punch for Fitz. These with the wind punts have been very effective. Taken by Curry. Julius ran into his own man, Eric Mundros, the backup fullback, and Jamal Clark will get credited for tackle. Michigan ball, minute 16 to go, and they are at the 32. Now time for our Sprint PCS game fact. Back in this series, October of 24, Red Grange ran for 4, passed for another, as Illinois beat Michigan 39-14. So many unbelievably memorable players in the history of the sport have played in this series. 85th meeting between these teams.
Number 77, the Galloping Ghost.
DJ Askew gallops to the outside, and he is met by Bobby Jackson, the senior from Pac-10 country in Corvallis, Oregon, along with Jeremy Schumacher made the play. Talk about the history of this series. Schumacher's dad was a Wolverine. Played for Michigan in the early 70s, was an end for Michigan and a guard as well. Met Schumacher's dad yesterday, and he said the only touchdown pass he ever caught in his life was right in here. And he was so thrilled to watch his son come in and play on the same turf that he did 3 decades later. Michigan in no hurry to force the issue here with 34 seconds left. Being safe with Askew. Hurdles his man, gets very close to the first down. Derek Strong over there on the play.
Mike, I'm a little surprised. You know, you call the timeout before the punt, you get the ball back, you run the ball on first down, and Michigan sat in the huddle. They didn't go from the line of scrimmage, let about 20-30 seconds off the clock, and that's a conscious decision by Lloyd Carr. He's playing it a little bit safe, and even though they pick up the first down here, they're going to let the ref roll the clock, and evidently Lloyd Carr's feeling good about an 18-point lead. He should, the way the games have gone the last 2 seasons.
And they're going to throw. This is interesting. They take a shot downfield with Walker in double coverage, and it's incomplete. Hope to get a flag or something else. 6 seconds left. The 39. We'll see if they take one more shot at it.
Now the thinking there was let the clock get down inside 10 seconds, maybe hit a Hail Mary type pass, and if you do get the ball picked off, if you do have a turnover, it doesn't hurt you. Lloyd Carr, if there's one thing for sure, he wants to go into the locker room with at least an 18-point lead.
Likely the final snap of this half. Walker came off the field instead of taking a 62-yard shot at the end zone. Navarre will take a knee and take it into the locker room. Michigan was down 10-7, but 21 points in less than 15 minutes turned it around. Wolverines 28, Illini 10. Stay tuned for the Valvoline halftime show after this message and a word from your ABC station.
Catfish. What a great arm.
With a 7-3 lead, Navarre also a 33-yard touchdown pass, up by 18 at halftime.
You know, young line, young backs, young quarterback, they're getting better every week. But I'm surprised. Illinois played good against Louisville last week. It was only 10 points, but 28 points, a lot of points against Illinois' defense.
Kurt Kittner with a 4-yard touchdown run. Notre Dame against Texas A&M.
Second half's ahead. An ABC Sports presentation of college football returns after this message and a word from your ABC station. Answered first half points. Mike Tirico, David Gorey back with you. David, let's take it back through the first half of the highlights, starting with this Walter Cross pass to Marquise Walker.
Yeah, a great job by Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator for Michigan, of the play calling on that drive. Kittner strikes back on a touchdown, the quarterback draw, and then a great job cutback running by Askew to score for Michigan. Navarre goes down the field to Bellamy. Nice catch by Bellamy, and then the touchdown on the reverse to Calvin Bell, and that gave Michigan the 28-10 lead.
Calvin Bell's run was 28 yards on that reverse. Also a 4th and inches decision by Ron Turner that was not picked up. That led to the ensuing play, the touchdown pass that you saw to Bellamy in the back of the end zone. Michigan will get the ball to start the second half. So Illinois' defense will have to make an early statement. They did to start the game. Turning the Wolverines away, 3 and out for the opening few possessions. Steve Fitz with the kickoff. And a return after confusion. Todd Howard finally took it at the 10. And returned to the dozen yards to 22. Special teams tackle made by Nick Piazza. Let's check the Morgan Stanley well-connected storyline here this afternoon. Illinois' defense had 3 sacks in the first 10 snaps, but then Michigan was able to get some time, get some comfort in the offense, and come up with 21 unanswered points. And David, why don't you expand on the point you made of the play calling decisions that were made by Stan Parrish?
Well, Stan Parrish and the Michigan offense, they were not having a lot of success, as you said, Mike, and I think the trick plays and the reverses and some of the unusual things that he did in play calling loosened up the Illinois defense and certainly had a big part in giving Michigan an 18-point lead.
B.J. Askew gets a couple of yards. Bobby Jackson there on the tackle. Askew was 11 for 42 running the ball in the first half.
And John Navarre in that first half was harassed some by this Illinois defense. And again, a lot of talk about the attacking style of defense that Illinois employed this year. And Navarre, to his credit, even though he's been hit, he's had some hurries, a couple sacks, he's done a great job of sitting in against this rush.
Pass by Navarre, caught by the tight end Bill Seymour at the 31-yard line. 3rd and 2 coming up. You talked about the defensive style of Illinois. Mike Cassidy has come over from Oklahoma State. And if you were watching halftime with John and Terry, Terry was talking about what Kansas State did against Oklahoma offensively. They blitzed a lot. Well, what Mike Cassidy, the new defensive coordinator here, did last year to Oklahoma should be the blueprint, because Cassidy held Oklahoma to just 12 points.
Yeah, and what he did is he went with zone. He went with 3 deep defenders, 5 underneath in the zone instead of manning up on that talented Oklahoma wide receiver group, and they almost pulled off an upset. They were down 12-7, inside a minute to go. Oklahoma State had 1st and goal on the 6, but they weren't able to score and upset the Sooners. Sooners went on, of course, to win the national championship.
Askew could not get the first down. It's 3 and out. Now Eugene Wilton will be the lone return man back for Hayden Epstein's punt. 42 yards, and just the pressure forced by Marcus Curry helps allow a very short punt return. Illinois drive start will come up at the 30 or 29-yard line, I should say. And David, this Illinois offense looked good early, but you didn't see much from Kurt Kittner. The senior quarterback was trying to win a second game here in Michigan Stadium, something very few quarterbacks do. Why is Kurt Kittner, in your opinion, not performing very well today?
Well, this is a different Michigan defense. This is not the same defense he's seen in the last 2 ball games. And also, I was not impressed with Kittner's accuracy in the first half. Even though he's facing some pressure, he needs to clean up his balls in the passing game.
Carey Davis, the fullback, gains a couple. That's something they used early in the first half as well. Larry Foote, the tackle. Foote was the top tackle man in the first half.
And you look at this type of pressure, and that can affect your accuracy some, but you know, going back to that first half, there were times where Kittner was free and he got protection or he moved outside of the pocket, had a good look downfield and just missed open receivers.
A lot of throwing here. Again, the underneath stuff with Davis. Try to work these linebackers, tire them out a bit. Victor Hobson and Larry Foote in on the tackle again. 3rd and 2 coming up.
It's such a big part of Ron Turner's offense, the possession passing game, and they like to use the pass as a run. Pick up 4 yards, pick up 5 yards, get yourself into manageable 3rd down situations. That's what they have here. And when Illinois is going to take the shot down the field on the big play, Mike, they'll usually do it out of play action or with the pump fake by Kurt Kittner.
Long yard to pick up here. They line up in the eye and let Antonio Harris go get it. Stays on his feet. Across the 45 into the 46-yard line. Eric Brackens and Todd Howard made the tackle, but it's a 1st down for Illinois.
Well, the Wolverines had great penetration and almost had Harris nailed in the backfield, but watch Harris slip to his right to avoid the tackle. A nice job. That wasn't a secure handoff, but he finally was able to get a hold on the football and pick up the 1st down.
Penalty markers down as Illinois went with a quick count that time. They'll be coming back 5 yards.
Prior to the snap, dead ball. Ball start, offense. 5-yard penalty, go 1st down.
Well, I know you have plans for the weekend all set, but I want you to make plans for tomorrow night at 9, 8 Central, the network premiere of what is being called the season's best new drama, Alias. What's it about? Well, it's a drama. That's why you have to tune in and find out. 9, 8 Central on ABC. After the flag, 1st and 15. More to the backs. Antonio Harris. Dave Rimashek came over to join Foote and Norman Hoyer, the sophomore from Arizona, in on the tackle. We saw the penalty against Illinois earlier, their 4th. Michigan, which was just very poor in the discipline category, 13 penalties, too shy of a school record last week, had just 2 penalties in the first half.
It's been a pretty cleanly played football game, and when you look at a Turner coach team, a Lloyd Carr coach team, they don't like to make mistakes. No turnovers yet in this football game, and a turnover would be key for Illinois.
2nd and 15. Steady diet of passes to the backs. Rocky Harvey. Well, the block was attempted by Jay Huga, but no taking it for Marlon Jackson.
Yeah, and Marlon Jackson, number 20. A lot of people talking about Marlon in comparisons with Woodson, the great cornerback that played here at Michigan, won the Heisman Trophy, and keep an eye on number 20 in the years to come. He is a special one.
Well, Jim Herman, the defensive coordinator, said, like Woodson, he's not intimidated from the time he walked on campus here as a freshman. That was one of the distinctions between those two guys.
And he plays like it. He plays with a brash style on the outside, and he's not afraid to match up with anybody.
Timeout Illinois, their first, facing 3rd and 11 from the Illini 43.
But baseball is market.
That's the good news. The bad news is the total yardage for Illinois fans, just 12 yards, all short stuff. Will they go down the field here? Needing to get to the Michigan 43. He has time. Down the middle for Greg Lewis at the 21-yard line. 34-yard pickup.
Now this is a wonderful job by Illinois to spread 4 receivers out, and he's going to be looking right here. Kinder's going to be looking at a 3 deep, 5 under zone. He waits, he's patient, and that's a beautiful throw to Lewis over the middle. But the key was the protection, and a nice job on the dig route, the deep crossing route by Lewis to find that soft spot in the zone, and then the ball arrives right on time.
Kittner to throw on 1st down. Looking for a touchdown. Incomplete. Hand fighting between Walter Young and Todd Howard. Howard lost his helmet. 2nd down.
Yeah, that was a great battle in the end zone. And Young was looking for a ball to the outside from Kittner on the fade route. And that's just a super job by Howard. Not only playing with position inside, but getting his eyes back to the quarterback. You won't get flagged if you get your eyes back to the football and make the play, even if there's contact. Howard, one of the most cagey defensive backs you'll find in the Big Ten Conference. He knows how to play. He's got a lot of experience.
Giving up 7 inches in height on that battle, too. Did a nice job. 2nd and 10. Down the middle, incomplete. Almost a circus catch by Carey Davis, who couldn't pin it to his shoulder pad. 3rd down coming up.
Well, Cato June is going to gamble here and might have just gotten a piece of that football. Carey Davis at fullback is as good as you'll find from the fullback position, coming out of the backfield and catching passes. Last week, 7 receptions. Jameel Cook a year ago for Illinois, the fullback, caught a whole bucket load of passes. Fullback is a big part of this passing offense.
Davis has 6 catches already today. Number 7 would have been 6 for the Illini. Instead, it's 3rd and 10. A little slant route's incomplete for Dwayne Smith. 28-10 is the score. From here, the field goal would be 38 yards. And Christophilakis, the kicker who won the job this week in practice and pregame warmups, comes on.
If you feel confident about your kicking game, it's a no-brainer here. You go ahead and you line up for the field goal, try to cut the lead. But as of last week's game, 2nd quarter against Louisville, the kicking game for Illinois started to turn into a bit of an adventure.
Officially 38 yards. And good. Well, it's been a solid kicking show from Peter Christophilakis. That's his career best. Couple of field goals today. 28-13, the Wolverine lead, now 15.
All right, Mike, hour 32 of ESPN Radio's Hands on the Heisman contest continues, and so far we don't see any quit in any of these contestants.
Georgia Tech, George Godsey, though, finds Kelly Campbell, who could not have been more wide open. Tech regains the lead, 26-21. Mike.
Thank you, John. Keep us updated on that. Another fabulous game between those two teams. 31-28 last year in Death Valley. May be on their way to that once again. Here, the Michigan lead is now 15. And a kickoff return for Todd Howard with an opening. Fitz took him down, the kicker, by the face mask. And 15 to that one. Michigan's going to have the ball around midfield. And a little separation here. They're just trying to get the helmet back for Howard as the players continue to chat.
Fitz is going to get hit with a 15-yarder here. Now, on the one hand, dangerous play. You don't want to give up 15 yards, but really in reality, this is a touchdown saving tackle, just not the type of tackle you want to make.
Howard's lucky that he's okay. A violent way that his headgear came off from the kicker Fitz, who made the play. Fitz also had Howard's hand in his face mask as well, but that was in the natural part of the play. And you never see an offensive player called for a face mask in those situations. Nor should they be.
But you know, even though Fitz did get the 15-yarder and he went to the face mask, that was a nice job of him closing off that lane, because if he doesn't get over and seal things off, this is a 35-13 ball game.
Michigan, which has been quick strike on offense here today. They look to go long out of this one. It's covered long, so Navarre just heads out of bounds. Is taken out by Derek Strong, and a flag did come in, I believe. That happened in exactly the same spot that the conversation was going on, and there was a flag that's hidden back in the Illinois bench. It'll be a late hit, Michigan first down.
And that is really a mental error.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, and when the runner went out of bounds, automatic first down.
And Navarre was looking for Marquise Walker, and Derek Strong just has to hold off. If there's anybody on the field, the officials are going to protect and call things tighter. You know, it's a quarterback. 2 15-yarders, and all of a sudden, Michigan about 10 yards from field goal range.
draw, Askew. Strung out by Jackson, spilled by the combination of Wilson and Schumacher, the corner and linebacker for Illinois. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Pacific Life. Annuities, insurance, investments. Discover the power of Pacific Life. General Motors, together, let's keep America rolling. And Capital One. What's in your wallet? 75th season of football here at Michigan Stadium. The 452nd game here this afternoon. They built it for $950,000 75 years ago. I think they've got their money's worth out of this place. Navarre throws underneath to the tight end, Japru. Just very marked, he might be closer to the first down than I thought originally. Muhammad Abdullah made the second down tackle.
Japru, it gives you a lot of athleticism, the ability to run, and he's got great hands, just another weapon that Navarre can go to. And speaking of weapons, how about the 4 offensive linemen that Michigan lost at a graduation? All 4 starting in the NFL, and if you look at this new offensive front for Michigan, I think they're doing a great job, with the exception of Jonathan Goodwin, all new starters, youngsters, and they're doing a good job as this game goes on.
Askew inside on 1st and 10. It's about a half yard. Mike O'Brien, the starting defensive end, made the play. He talked about the offensive linemen. Steve Hutchinson was drafted in the first round by Seattle. Jeff Backus by the Lions up north of here. Maurice Williams taken by Jacksonville, the Jaguars, in the 43rd overall pick in the second round. All 3 of those guys starters. But David Brandt, the starting at center for 36 games here, went undrafted, signed as a free agent with the Washington Redskins, and he started the Skins opener. Navarre is sacked. They brought the pressure up the middle from the defensive tackle, Brett Cotter, Harrisburg, PA. 4th sack of Navarre today, as many as he's had all season.
Cotter's had a nice game, and they haven't always lined him up in a down stance, in a 3-point stance. Illinois has shown a few wrinkles. They've had him in a 2-point stance, 6'3", 275-pounder, and he's had his way a couple times with the offensive line, especially inside for Michigan.
Big down. From here, it's a 50-yard field goal into the wind, so picking up some yardage might be just as important as the first down. Marquise Walker has the first down.
John Navarre's going to pick up the blitz on the right side, step underneath. A nice job by his back to pick off on the block. And Navarre's starting to come of age. Now he waits, he ducks up underneath that blitz, and has the patience to wait for number 4 to come open on the crossing route.
1st and 10, Michigan back in the red zone where they've been terrific this year. Askew on the delay. Takes it down to the 13-yard line, and Illinois' defense, Derek Strong, who made that play, and the rest of the Illini crew, only allowed an average of 13 points a game this year against weaker competition, California, Northern Illinois, and Louisville. Really need to come up with a stop here as time starts running down here in the 3rd.
Yeah, and as a young quarterback, Navarre should get in the huddle and make sure he talks to his backs and say, hey, we've got 3 points in our hip pocket. We've got to lead. Ball security is important. Let's at least come away with 3 points.
Navarre thinking about left. Brought down. The sack's made by Jeremy Schumacher. If you weren't with us in the first half, his dad was an end and a guard at Michigan. His son playing at Michigan Stadium here this afternoon.
This new Mike Cassidy defense, what it does is it gives kids abilities to blitz. If they see a certain look, they make the decision, they come, and they've really responded. This defensive unit for Illinois, the chance to run and make plays, a lot different from the defense a year ago, Mike.
Good pressure unit. Maybe they'll bring some pressure on 3rd and 15. And they run Askew up the middle. Strong held on. Got pushed forward by the combination of Strong and Lamont Holden. At the 14, from here it will be a 31 or 2-yard field goal for Lloyd Carr's kicker, Hayden Epstein.
A year ago, things came a lot easier for Michigan on the ground. They racked up 341 yards on 55 carries. They game a year ago. It hasn't been easy because of Illinois' numbers up on the line of scrimmage, and I really like Stan Parrish's job of play calling. That last call was not designed to pick up a first down, but it picked up the necessary yards to get Epstein closer and give him a surer shot at this 3 points.
31-yarder, had one block at Washington. This one is good. Well, the senior from California answers the Illinois 3 with 3 for the home team. Michigan leads by 18. Field goal drive with a Wolverine 10-play field goal drive. 31-13 as Epstein kicks. Gene Wilson made a couple of men miss and ran into his own blocker, Dave Hildebrand. Illini drive will start at their own 22. Our Pacific Life game summary shows you the per play average for both teams. Michigan, 280 total yards, and a lot more to show for it. The run has not been there for either team today, and Rocky Harvey's pulled down by Larry Stevens. If you look at the rushing yards, we have Illinois around 35, Michigan around 55, and don't forget that half the Wolverines' rushing yards came on Calvin Bell reverse.
Yeah, and so the yards are going to come through the passing game and also the specialty plays, and Michigan's just done a better job of that. Illinois had a nice drive, couldn't finish it off on their last possession. Kittner's got to get to work.
2nd and 13 from the 19. McClellan, the tight end, Anthony McClellan to the 48-yard line. Good-looking player, 30 yards, ties his career long, just his 4th game. Redshirt freshman, O'Fallon, Illinois.
McClellan's a great-looking tight end because he's got size, he's got the speed to get down and threaten the field vertically, and really gifted with his hands. That was a beautiful ball by Kittner, and a nice job by Kittner to see the defense and place that ball into the seam.
That athlete at that size was a 6'7" high jumper in high school. Give you an idea of his athletic ability. Just shy of midfield, Michigan rushes 4. Kittner sends 5 in the pattern. They're covered by the Wolverines, and this is another throwaway. Look at UCLA shutting out Oregon State. And if you think back to last week, David, former UCLA quarterback, the Bruins didn't allow Ohio State an offensive touchdown. It came on special teams. So that's now 7 quarters where they haven't allowed a defensive score.
Well, you might be thinking quarterback, what do you know about defense? They've taken a lot of flack out there in Westwood for not playing tough on defense the last 3-4 years, but it sure looks like they've turned things around this year.
Movement up front on the 2nd and 10. David, you were part of a UCLA team that played Michigan 3 times in a very small period of time, right?
Yeah, back in 1981.
Dead ball. Ball start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Back in 81, 82, we played Michigan 3 times on Astro Blue Bonnet Bowl. And then we came back and played the Wolverines here in Ann Arbor early in the 82 season, and then we ended up matching up with them in the Rose Bowl game later on that year. So we saw a lot of the Wolverines, and they were pretty good back then. Anthony Carter, Steve Smith, Butch Woolfolk.
Still pretty good. What a consistent program. Pressure on Cato June. Brings down Kittner. The ball came free. It's a fumble, and it belongs to Michigan. Rumashek, the recovery.
Now the blitz is going to come off the left side. A safety blitz. Rumashek penetration, but Cato June with great speed. And what a job with the off arm. Watch him use the right arm to strip the ball. Kids are taught to play football that way in this day and age. And when you have an opportunity for a turnover, you go for the strip. And June just really made things a lot tougher on Ron Turner and this Illinois team. What a play off the left side by Cato June.
And Michigan loves to take a shot at it. very often after getting a turnover. Navarre screen Askew. B.J. Askew still on the move to the 18-yard line. Ryan Schafering made the tackle, and Michigan is sensing the opportunity for a knockout punch.
Coming into the season, Chris Perry looked to be the starting tailback for Michigan. He's been slowed by ankle injuries, splitting time with Askew, and as the early years gone on, Askew's gotten the brunt of the carries, and he's a heck of a back coming out of the backfield in the pass game as well.
Now he runs it. He's at the 10, he's at the 5, and down to the 3.
This Michigan offensive line, a lot like earlier in the year in Seattle. Slow start in the football game. They start revving up the ground game. And this offensive unit is looking more and more like the classic Wolverine units of old. Nice push up front by the offensive line.
Askew. Touchdown! Askew in conversation with the official, the field judge, Denny Frond, did a nice job because he didn't take the helmet off to celebrate a la the old Miami Hurricanes. That used to bring a flag. It came off in the celebration.
And he spent a good time down there lobbying with that field judge. And he said, hey, that came off as a result of the Illinois defender pulling at my chin strap. And what a run. Askew has had himself a great day running the football, and those have been tough yards. Not big numbers, but some quality runs.
(38-13) as Hayden Epstein adds the extra point.
Well, Michigan loses the 4 top-shelf offensive linemen, but don't be mistaken. They've reloaded with some highly touted players. 2 tackles, Tony Pape, Demetrius Solomon, and Askew has waited his turn here in Michigan. Played at fullback last year, played at fullback for Anthony Thomas to get an opportunity to get in the ball game and also to branch out his game a little bit, give him a different aspect. And now his time has come as a tailback. And I mentioned he hasn't had great numbers today because of the tough running yards, the style of play Illinois is employing on defense, but 19 carries, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns.
David, I don't think the fans around here appreciated the A-train enough. Everyone focused right away. Drew Henson, what a great quarterback he was. David Terrell, game breaker. And then people even talk about the offensive line. Oh, they lost 4 guys, all the multiple starts in a row they had. Anthony Thomas broke more tackles than any running back I've seen in the last 10 years. He carried the load by himself as a junior. There was no depth at the position. And people are expecting a lot out of some unproven players. Perry and Askew are certainly growing into the role. Terrific special teams tackle by Roy Manning. Bringing down Greg Lewis. Askew stepping into the role as the top runner with Navarre at quarterback and Marquise Walker, all in some way filling roles for players who are off in the pros, whether it's Henson with baseball or Terrell and Thomas with the Chicago Bears. And you see in their Big Ten opener, all 3 have been solid.
It's a new look offense, and it's scary to think what this offense would be like if Henson came back and David Terrell was still suiting up for the Wolverines.
Hittner's first down pass is caught by Brandon Lloyd to the 19-yard line, picked up 7 yards. Those of you just joining us, perhaps coming home from a college football game, wherever you were, there weren't as many people as there are here. 107,085 in the largest football stadium in the world. American football, that is. Michigan 38, Illinois 13. Big Ten opener for both teams. It was 10-7 Illinois. Early second quarter, the Wolverines scored 3 unanswered touchdowns and have not looked back since. They're pressuring Kurt Kittner, the Illinois senior quarterback, whose pass is complete to the 27-yard line. Again to Lloyd. Now it's incomplete. Saw the Michigan arm saying no catch on the sideline, and they were right. At the conclusion of today's game, David and I will select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund.
Kurt Kittner on that last play, that was Harry Houdini. He's in the backfield and the roof is caving in on him. That was a masterful play to get outside. Didn't get a lot of help from Lloyd catching the football on the outside.
They run on 3rd and long 3, and Carey Davis cannot get there. Julius Curry came up from the safety spot after Cato June made the play at the legs and stopped him. Steve Fitz punting again. Beautiful kick with the wind. 60 yards. Curry on the move. And Marcus is pulled down by Jerry Schumacher.
Bit of a curious play call there on 3rd down, Mike. 38-13, and I'm not sure whether Kurt Kittner was checking at the line of scrimmage, but running the football in that situation, pretty tough if you feel like you're still in the game and you still have a chance. Less than 2 minutes to go in the 3rd. Kurt Kittner does have the freedom to check plays at the line of scrimmage, and tough to tell whether that was the case on that play, but he is really starting to face some heat. The Michigan defense has really been the story in this football game.
Our play pass up 25 to the tight end, Eric Rosel. 9 yards as Muhammad Abdullah, the senior from New Jersey, made the play.
I think that's 4 different tight ends that have caught passes in this football game for Michigan.
That's correct.
And, you know, Mike, if you have that classic running game, the power style running game of Michigan, and you can play action pass with your tight ends, that puts tremendous pressure on a defense. And when you've got 3-4 quality tight ends you can go to, it's almost impossible to defend if you're a linebacker.
2nd and less than a yard. Walter Cross now in the game, and the senior from Maryland has the first down at the Illinois 44. Cross earlier in the game threw the option pass touchdown to Marquise Walker and really got Michigan's offense in gear. Michigan will run it on down and take this one into the 4th quarter. Illinois came back from down 20 with 17 minutes left on their last visit to the Big House. This comeback would have to be like the State Fair, bigger and better than ever. Off we go to the 4th quarter in Ann Arbor. Michigan 38, Illinois 13 on this great autumn Saturday. ABC Sports presentation of college football will return after this message and a word from your ABC station.
And at midnight on ESPN.
How many generations here in Michigan have been a part of Wolverine football? Over 35 million times that turnstile has turned in the last 75 years at Michigan Stadium. We start the 4th quarter with a Walter Cross carry to the 40. Michigan going for a win 8-0-8 all time here this afternoon. And what the fans here hope would be their first step on the way to a 41st outright or shared Big Ten title. It's pretty good. 122 years of football, slightly less as a member of the Big Ten. The stretch in the early 1900s where Michigan was not a part of the Big Ten. But 40 titles. It's just under 1 every 3 seasons. 2nd and 7, and Navarre pass is a screen that Askew can't get to. the first incompletion of the second half for John Navarre, who was 5 of 5 before that. A reminder, tomorrow, another great sports landmark in our country, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the SAP US Grand Prix, Formula One. Worldwide renowned as the elite form of motor racing. You'll see them live in the U.S. at the Brickyard, 1:30 Eastern on ABC. Needing to get to the 34 to keep the drive alive. Navarre on the move will be twirled down by Mike O'Brien, who's had an active second half.
If you're a Michigan fan, you might not think much of that play, but I think it's part of the maturation and the growing up process for John Navarre. He didn't see what he liked down the field. He's got a 38-13 lead, and that's something that he was not doing in his first 7 starts. Pulling the football down, getting it back towards the line of scrimmage. Let your team live to fight another day. And I think that he'll get some praise from the coaching staff and film study when they look at that tomorrow.
Hayden Epstein to punt. Trying to pin Illinois inside zone 10. Brandon Williams could not locate the ball in time. It's a touchback. The Illini will have it at their own 20 when we come back. You see Ron Turner's Illinois team balanced all year, runs and passes. Obviously, it will be unbalanced today because of the deficit, more passes thrown, but those 24 runs have not done much for Kurt Kittner and company. On first down, Cato June, who's having a very good second half. Second sack to go with the forced fumble and a couple of tackles in there as well.
And the running game was going to be the key for Illinois. And Ron Turner made no bones about it yesterday. And those numbers, Mike, really do tell a story because Kittner has faced a lot of fire in the pocket. Ron Turner's quarterback has not gotten the time today to enable him to play the way he has the last 2 games, last 2 years.
Second and 18 run will only gain a yard for Antonio Harris. 3rd and long coming up. Let's check in with John Saunders, Times Square Stadium in New York.
Mike, Clemson and Georgia Tech, as you mentioned, it has been a great one over the last 5 years. Travis Zachary, you want to talk about a 2nd, 3rd, and 4th effort, spins into the end zone as Clemson extends their lead now 34-26. Mike.
Clemson shocked last week. Great finish to their game with Virginia. Perhaps building to another game like that this afternoon.
Clemson holds on there. You'll have Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Florida State all with a loss.
Good point. 3rd and 15 toss is incomplete. Brandon Lloyd had some room, but as you see, Kittner couldn't sit in there and throw it. And a nice hand for this Michigan defense that has been outstanding here this afternoon.
Yeah, you got to love it if you're a linebacker for Michigan and you're getting that type of play up front because Hobson, Brackens, and Foote have been able to run and hit the quarterback and not always pick up sacks, but they've had Kittner on his back a good portion of this afternoon.
Steve Fitt's 9th punt, a penalty marker is down. 12 men on the field. As Michigan was trying to get someone off the field. Was 4th and 15, so 5-yard penalty. Illinois will have the option to re-kick it or give the Wolverines the ball at the 45. The Illini 45. Marquise Walker was out there. He is always on punt blocks. At the score 38-13, I'm sure the decision was made but not communicated to everyone. With no reason to let Marquise go out there and possibly get hurt. Special teams up 25.
Not communicated properly.
Yes.
Lloyd Carr's got to be very excited about the way things have gone today because you look at those last 2 games against Illinois and we mentioned Michigan 15-1 in their last 16 conference home games here. The only quarterback to come in and beat him, Kurt Kittner, 2 years ago. And the success that Illinois had against this Michigan team last year Had to have Lloyd Carr very concerned, but the defensive play today, the play calling by Stan Parrish, some of the big playability of the offense has been the difference.
Well, Walker's supposed to be on the field, and he almost got to that one. Julius Curry has really improved the punt returns for Michigan this year. Source of concern for this team from last year, and they worked very hard for a dozen return yards. Wolverines by 25 inside of 12 minutes. ABC Sports presentation of college football brought to you by Budweiser. With a crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. Chrysler, drive equals love. Valvoline's Max Life, the first motor oil formulated for higher mileage engines. And Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular. We are atop Michigan Stadium where the Wolverines lead 38-13. First down run and fumble. Well, they say David Underwood, the freshman, was down perhaps. Let's see. Heard a quick whistle in there.
And that might be called an inadvertent whistle. And if it is, Michigan retains possession.
It is Illinois ball. Jamari Perry will come up with the recovery from the freshman David Underwood. We mentioned the injury to Chris Perry, thus B.J. Askew got most of the carries. Walter Cross in there a bit. They like the freshman Underwood. And here in the opportunity of the fourth quarter to play, turns it over, clearly.
That's why you give him the carry when you're up 38-13. And there's some air there in between the body and the football. And the whistle did come before the recovery of the football. Illinois lucky to not get a bad break.
Jeremy Schumacher, the recovery. Here's Kittner pumping and going long for Dwayne Smith. It's incomplete. Coverage from freshman Marcus Curry.
One of the big problems you have if you don't get a running game going for Illinois, it takes away your play action. We talked about Illinois going for the home run balls off of play action. The other way they do it, the pump fake. And Kittner about as good in the game at selling that fake as anybody at the college level. Michigan not going to bite on it quite as much when they're up by 25 points, and that's why that play didn't work.
Just once it's worked today, 47 yards to Walter Young, helped set up Illinois' opening field goal. Pass slightly behind Brandon Lloyd. Who missed last season with an injury. Well, in the Ivy today, Yale won, so they have 808 wins now. They have a couple of wins in the early going of the season. With a win here this afternoon, Michigan will have win 808 to keep pace with Yale. The all-time wins, all divisions. Obviously, Michigan, the all-time leader, Division 1A, major college football.
We didn't figure that Holy Cross had a great shot to beat Yale today, so Michigan was going to have to win to keep pace.
As you were breaking down that Holy Cross tape yesterday, you made that point out. Kittner throws underneath. And Dwayne Smith is tackled by Larry Foote. At the 45, that's 6 shy of a first down. The fourth down coming up. This Illinois team will host Minnesota next week. That was supposed to be after their bye week. This game was originally scheduled for last Saturday, the 22nd. But with some scheduling maneuvers with some teams in the MAC, the game that was canceled from a couple of weeks ago because of the September 11th tragedy against Western Michigan for Michigan was slid back to last week. And this game was also dropped down a week with cooperation from the athletic departments. So Illinois will not have an off week until October 27th. And Lloyd Carr's team will be seen on ABC next week at Penn State. Jopa's team lost by 6 at Iowa, and they are now 0-3 on the season.
And a big question mark for Illinois. If you go back a year ago, the loss to Michigan, it really sent that team into a tailspin. And Ron Turner's team was not very good in responding after the Michigan loss. Shocked a lot of people. They didn't go to a bowl game, didn't come up with a winning record.
First down carry. It's back to Walter Cross, the senior. He works it out to the 14. We're starting to form the opinions of teams. Big Ten 2001. Here's what Lloyd Carr thinks about the league.
trying to figure out who's going to win this thing is impossible to know because it is so balanced. There's good coaching, outstanding rivalries. It's very difficult to win on the road, and yet the teams I think that win some big games on the road are going to have the best chance to win the championship.
Well, Northwestern went at home one today. Purdue went on the road and pulled out one against Minnesota, and Iowa won at home. Those are the teams that are undefeated thus far in overall play, all playing their first conference games today. Wisconsin played out of the league this afternoon. As you get a chance to see what an unbelievable finish Northwestern Michigan State. 4 scores in the last few minutes. Northwestern survives. Here's Iowa's win. Wisconsin out of the league, continues to perform well. A lot of pressure on Steve Bellisari, but he got the start as Ohio State keeps Indiana winless in Bloomington. And here's Purdue, which kicked the field goal with 1 second left to force overtime, and then got the touchdown and held off the Gophers in the Metrodome to get the victory. Here, Michigan, the most convincing statement in any of the early league games. First down to Marquise Walker. He's over 100 yards in receiving on the day. Walker 6 catches, 108 yards, and on our Pacific Life game summary. Here. Oh, look, the pass is Walker Cross to Walker. That touchdown catch by Walker. And B.J. Askew's hard run here in the second half. 2 of the key Michigan scores. They've scored 5 touchdowns on the afternoon. And this one's whistled down. Somebody on the sideline yelled, "It's about time."
Prior to the snap, dead ball, false start, offense. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
I'm going to guess that was said on the sideline that has the 13, not the 38.
Things can get a little salty when you're trailing by 25.
Niners Jets, 9 Eastern. Al, Dan, Dennis, Eric, and Melissa on ABC. That'll be from the Meadowlands in East Rutherford, New Jersey. As San Francisco comes east, a rare 49ers Jets game. The last one played a few years ago, went overtime, and the Niners won. Rosal couldn't hang on, one of the 4 tight ends in the game today, as pass catchers and blockers as well. Well, what do you think of John Navarre? We mentioned at the very top of the broadcast, this is John Navarre's first opportunity, not for just a Big Ten win, but a big win. And do you see a more confident quarterback?
I see a more confident quarterback, and it's only natural at home. And also the play he's getting up front from his offensive line. And stats started to get a little bit better here in the second half, and it's still settling into the role.
Walter Cross carries to the 22. It'll be 3rd and 10. Remember, Navarre was one of his first 5 here on the afternoon, and kind of settled in as his offensive line gave him some time as well.
Well, and this is his 8th start. And I think when you get 7, 8 starts under your belt, you should start to be a quarterback that's picking things up, that's making progress on a game-by-game basis. And I think Navarre is doing that. He still needs to learn to feel things a little bit better in the pocket. He needs to learn to take something off the ball from time to time, put a little trajectory on it, some more touch passes. He still tends to want to throw the ball at 1 speed, 100% velocity, but I think he's going to be a very good one if you give him some time.
At 3rd and 10, quick one to Ronald Bellamy is incomplete, and we've probably seen the last of John Navarre here on the afternoon. You know, you talked about, wow, look at Washington losing at Cal in Berkeley by 11. Talk about Navarre, you think of Tom Brady and Brian Griese, Todd Collins, Elvis Gerbach, the quarterbacks who've been in here recently, Drew Henson. Most of those quarterbacks got the chance to start as upperclassmen. Don't forget Navarre's a sophomore. He'll be around for a while, has done some learning on the job. More to come. The return to midfield by Eugene Wilton. Illinois ball at the 50. Halfway through 4th quarter. Illinois down 25.
But base.
Now it's time for our Chrysler Drive summary. Illinois in the second half has gotten nothing done other than the field goal drive to answer Michigan's 10-play field goal drive. Fumble and 3 punts. The Illini down 25, 7.5 to go, and Dustin Ward, the sophomore from Champaign, will come in as Kurt Kittner's day is done. Ward's pass caught by Carey Davis. The starting fullback stays in the game. Jeremy LeSueur dropped him.
Dustin Ward came in a year ago in the finale for Illinois. Kurt Kittner got knocked out in the second to last game against Ohio State late in that one. Ohio State won at the gun on a field goal, so it was up to Dustin Ward to go into Northwestern, try to come up with a win and send Illinois to a winning season in a bowl game. Didn't work out, although Dustin Ward was pretty good in that game. 20 for 37, had a couple touchdown passes.
Sure did. Big offensive numbers. Good arm, too. To Eric McGoey. And he's at the 33. Michigan on its way to moving their record to 3-1. That'll be Illinois' record. The Wolverines lead by 25 here in Ann Arbor. McGoey's second catch of the afternoon. Ward, born in Urbana. For McGoey, incomplete, and a penalty marker comes in, not from the official in front of the play, but the one deep. Fans always react to that, but sometimes the official close by is screened out by the bodies, and some pushing and shoving is better seen from far away.
I think the officials were, actually the fans were a little disturbed because the flag came so late.
Because he had to throw it 30 yards. His arm isn't what he used to be.
Now McGoey on the outside, getting off the bump coverage, and LeSueur is holding on a bit there, a handful of jersey, and that is a good call. Even if it comes late, if it's the right call, it's a good call.
And good work, teamwork by the officials. This officiating crew has done a fine job today. It was point of contention from last year's game in Champaign that Michigan rallied to win. Ward's pass is complete to Aaron Moorhead, whose dad, Emery Moorhead, was in the NFL for many years. Second catch for the junior.
And I think a pretty good decision by Ron Turner to take Kittner out. He's got a big conference schedule awaiting him. You don't want to get Kurt Kittner nicked up. Kittner's had some injury problems in the past.
And you want to make sure Ward's ready.
Absolutely. That's a great point, Mike. You want to get him some quality game time experience in addition to the action that he picked up a year ago, and they're going to let him throw the ball a little bit here.
Carey Davis up the middle, takes it to the 5-yard line. Illinois was very impressive, winning at Cal 44-17. Beat Northern Illinois by 5 at home, beat Louisville by 24 last week. But as they've come into Michigan Stadium on as good a Saturday as you could have for a college football game, Illinois went up 10-7. Since then, it's 31-6 home team.
And you have to think about Michigan. If Michigan doesn't self-destruct on special teams in the fourth quarter against Washington up in Seattle, they might be a top 7, top 8 team.
Ward pass is a touchdown to Greg Lewis, first of the year for the junior. Well, the former walk-on who led the team with 6 touchdown catches last year has his first of 2001, and Ward has his first TD toss of the season as well.
A pretty impressive job by Ward coming off the bench cold and really making it look easy on that drive.
Well, the kicking's been just fine today. Christofalakis has made both of his extra points and both of his field goals. 18-point Michigan lead. My guess would be an onside kick might be coming up when you come back. Well, Dustin Ward, who played in 7 games last year, redshirted in '99, has his first touchdown toss of 2001, an effective drive, and off we go to an onside kick from the Illini. And Steve Fitz, their senior. And Michigan has its hands team loaded up to the near side. Can only have a certain number of players on this side of the hash mark. You must maintain 4 if you're Illinois on the other side. Got the big bounce and the big receiver. Bellamy comes down with it. Took a nice shot in the ribs.
Yeah, it isn't a lot of fun being on the hands team. You got to sit in there, make the catch, and then take a big hit.
Well, time permitting, I'm going to say we have time permitting. Post-game report, the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. With John Saunders and Terry Bowden come your way. Scores and highlights of an action-packed day. Recap the crazy day in the Big Ten, where a grand total of 14 points decided the other 3 conference games today. New quarterback, Jermaine Gonzalez, hands to Walter Cross. He gets it out to the 39. And speaking of John Saunders, here is the talented Canadian in New York.
Yes, talented in many, many ways. Georgia Tech facing Clemson, proving they all have talent as well. Sidney Ford, 10 yards out, goes in. The 2-point conversion attempt is no good, so right now it's 38-34. Oh, by the way, Barry Bonds has just hit home run number 69, and speaking of Canada, that's where he gets his bats, from just outside Ottawa.
That good maple wood, which is the difference, huh? Not the maple leaves, but not the maple leaves, but the maple wood from Canada.
Will that be something if he comes up with the record? I'm telling you.
He can do it tomorrow. His first down run by Walter Cross. He could do it tomorrow. He might do it today. Who knows? But he could have 70 homers with a week left in the season. Phenomenal. Well, Jermaine Gonzalez has been in the game for one snap before this series, and when we look back, it might be the key play of the game, the toss back from Marquise Walker to Gonzalez that moved Michigan down the field for its opening touchdown.
Talk about a well-designed play. They had the little picket fence set up down the sidelines, and that really did turn the tide.
Walter Cross carries again. Gonzalez won the number 2 quarterback job at Michigan from Spencer Brinton, who was a quarterback at San Diego State, then went on his Church of Latter-day Saints Mormon mission. His comeback has been rusty, so Gonzalez, the more athletic quarterback, won the job, got his first action in the final drive against Western Michigan last week. As I alluded to earlier, he played 5 games on the basketball team last year and had a rebound, an assist, a block, and a steal, but wasn't really much of a contributor. And Lloyd Carr said, if you want to be a part of football as a quarterback, you need to work. Incomplete just behind the tight end, Sean Thompson. And work not just at the football, but work at the mental part of being a quarterback. And Lloyd was effusive in his praise of Gonzalez from Pontiac, Michigan. See the Wolverines against Penn State, most of you next week. Some of you will see the Red River rivalry between Oklahoma and Texas next Saturday on ABC Sports. Oklahoma a winner today over Kansas State. I really enjoyed our visit with 56-year-old Lloyd Carr, who will move to 20-1 for his September record here this afternoon. Gonzalez runs that same little pass to the tight end. Benny Jopru, first down at the 21-yard line. Lloyd Carr used to be at Illinois when Gary Moeller was the head coach over there in the late 70s. Lloyd was the DB coach, and they went 3-16-3. Of course, he replaced Moeller here to become the 16th Michigan head coach. Has won or shared 3 Big Ten titles and won the national championship for the Wolverines here in 1997.
That's really impressive to me, Mike, and he brought this up yesterday. 11-1 against top 10 teams. He'll notch another victory against a top 20 team today, and to his credit, he said, hey, it was the players that won those football games.
Like senior Walter Cross, who's been demoted essentially because of some good players here to 3rd string, but Walter Cross has come in here and run hard.
Well, and Walter Cross, his first 2 touches, the halfback pass for a touchdown to Marquise Walker, and then he handled the football on the reverse to Bell for the touchdown. Right. So the first 2 touches, Cross figured in touchdowns, and you know that's what it's all about if you're an upperclassman. And I talked to Stan Parrish, the offensive coordinator. He said before the game today that he'd play an important part in this football game, and he really has.
See, now Cross, the senior, has to be unselfish. He comes out, the ball's at the 10 touchdown area where the freshman Underwood comes in and takes it to the 6. He fumbled earlier, so he gets a carry. You know, back to Lloyd Carr, and you talked about the 11-1. You start naming, you go out to college football campuses and to stadiums, say, who are the great coaches in the country? Steve Spurrier's name gets mentioned. Bobby Bowden's name is going to get mentioned. You'll hear different names. You know, Rick Neuheisel, a guy we both really like out on the West Coast.
Bellotti.
Mike Bellotti at Oregon, one of the hot coaches. People even mention Barry Alvarez. The conversation goes on before somebody names Lloyd Carr. And that is as large a mistake as anybody who knows this sport can make. I mean, he's won 60 games at a place where you're expected to win, and the competition's always tough. Now, granted, a lot of people are going to say, hey, give me this place to recruit and build on this tradition. But sometimes it's hard when somebody tosses you a great car to keep it going at 100 miles an hour.
Well, and
excuse the pun with the
great
car.
record against the top 10 teams. He's won 4 New Year's Day bowl games in a row, and that was one of the great comments. And I want to say it again. He said, "Hey, those were the kids that won those football games." And I have not heard a head coach make a classy comment like that in a long time. He's got a national championship under his belt, 1997, 12-0. Rolled through the Big Ten Conference season with an 8-0 mark, and he's in my top 5 right now in the country, easily.
Walter Cross to the right, cuts back, cuts to the end zone. Haven't seen a signal yet, but it is a touchdown for Michigan. There it is. 5-yard run, 44-20. If anybody in the band needed to practice Hail to the Victors, they've had plenty of opportunities here this afternoon. 7th score for the Wolverines, 6th extra point for Hayden Epstein. 45-20. Hail to the Victors on this Saturday afternoon.
Look at me.
To East Lansing for the Spartans after that 1-point loss at Northwestern. Illinois Northwestern, by the way, closed the season at Memorial Stadium in Champaign on Thanksgiving. Could be Big Ten title implications in that. But you can say that about half the games in the league this year, there could be title implications. No clear-cut favorite. Hayden Epstein kicks it for Michigan. And drifting back, Eugene Wilson will bring it out. His return to the 18. John Saunders keeping an eye on a bunch of closer games. John, what's going on?
Well, Mike, the Clemson-Georgia Tech game has been as advertised. Woody Dantzler, this is a 4th down and 13 yards to go. He's got to have this. Finds J.J. McKelvey, hits him right between the numbers. Touchdown, 63 yards. Clemson back top by 3. Georgia Tech with the ball now and marching.
Wow. How good a game is that in Atlanta?
That game following the Northwestern Michigan State game, and that's why people watch college football.
Especially now.
Unbelievable.
It's so even. You know, you travel around the country and it is so even. Game in, game out, day in, day out. Ward's pass is incomplete. It was juggled. Oh, Chevrolet players of the game. Let's pick them here. For Michigan, we'll go with Marquise Walker. Very key early on with the pass on the throwback and over 100 yards receiving, and we're going to give it to the kicker.
I didn't know they could do that.
Yes, we can.
They can't give the player the game
We
to a
have
kicker,
the power. Look at him. He's warming up in case he has to kick another extra point. See, very diligent.
Peter, you know what? Peter was pretty good today. And he was right down the middle, and after the problems last week, Illinois suffered in the kicking game against Louisville. It was a welcome change for Ron Turner.
Do we tell the truth? Nobody else for Illinois played a player of the game type game. Kirk Kittner had big numbers, but was not accurate in certain parts of the afternoon. You see Walker's numbers here today.
Didn't get the type of play he's accustomed to from the wideouts and the skill players either. And the defense held up pretty well for a while. Michigan just too tough on offense, and really a nice game plan of Michigan put together offensively for Illinois.
This is a 3rd down pass that is intercepted by Brandon Williams, who's thinking about the end zone, but is going to get shoved out of bounds before he gets there. The sophomore comes up, junior I should say, comes up with the interception, threw a shoe along the way, and Todd Howard ran all the way from the sideline to go get the shoe for his partner Brandon Williams.
Now, we've talked a bit about the depth that Michigan can put on the field defensively this year, and the secondary is no different. The cornerback position, Williams, a nice job of sitting in behind that slam. That's a nice play on the ball. He closes out on his break and almost Just takes it to the end zone.
First career INT. He went to the same high school as Gale Sayers, Amon Green, and Calvin Jones. The last two of the old Nebraska running backs.
Those guys are pretty good, weren't
That's
they?
why he looked like he knew how to run with it. Spencer Britton, new quarterback in the game. And the run by the freshman Underwood takes him to the 10. While we have a second, the executive producer of ABC Sports is Howard Katz. Our coordinating producer, Bob Goodrich. Our game today, produced by Jim Ressler. Good thing we had somebody who knows their way around Ann Arbor for the game this afternoon. Directed.
That's why I came in early.
By Jeff Wynn.
Came in on Wednesday.
Thank you, one and all. Technical Director Hal Schmitz, Associate Director Dave Lilling, Director of Production Bob Toms. Underwood to the 2. Mike Brada did our stats in the booth. Chelsea Trowbridge kept us all in line. And Joe Gallen with a perfect job of spotting here this afternoon. Thank you, one and all. Wonderful pleasure to join you on a Saturday in the Big House. Don't forget our technical director, Jeff Suarez, as well. Underwood is stopped just shy of the 2, and I think Michigan will call it a day right here at 45-20 for a final score. Wolverines improve the record to 3-1. Illinois falls to 3-1. Do not have to run a snap, and Lloyd Carr gets another win. Michigan 45, Illinois 20, our final score at the Big House. With David Norrie, Mike Tirico, so long from Ann Arbor. ABC Sports Online at ESPN.com, keyword ABC Sports. Thrifty Car Rental postgame report coming up. John Saunders is in New York. John.